Good morning, Don.
Hey, good morning, Liz. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday to you.
We're already 7 days into the first 100 days of the year.
Yes. One
Hard to
weekend.
believe. Yeah, and the weekend is here again. Yes. So anyway, happy Friday to all of you who are here and playing with us on the Great Resignation Call. We've been talking about the 11 forgotten laws that Bob Proctor talks about. Bob Proctor is one of my mentors. He's a really fabulous guy who really understands the law of attraction, the law of business, the law of sales. He's just really, really great. And we are today looking at the law of increase. And I know, Liz, this is one that really excites you. So do you want to kick us off?
I would love to kick us off. And I want to kind of just acknowledge, like when I first heard the law of increase, I was like, what the heck is that?
Right.
So I had to Google it, and I was like, and it resonated with me because it was something I was already kind of doing, but I didn't have a label for it. Right. So the law of increase, as we talk about the law of increase, it's kind of like this wanting of more, and it's okay to want more food, want more clothes, want more, pleasure and joy and laughter and just wanting more. And then part of me also goes, okay, but what about psychology that says always wanting more can also lead to more, trauma or this, that, and the other. And there's something that he said that made me go, oh, that's it. That's
What
it,
was that?
right?
What did he say?
He said, you know what? My grandmother used to say, now this is Bob Proctor, my grandmother used to say, be satisfied with what you have, right? And it was with this thing that parents say to their children, kind of like, be grateful.
Right.
But it comes down in this condescending way. And kids are naturally grateful for all the securities and things that they have in their life. They're just naturally grateful. And they automatically assume that they're there if they had a comfortable upbringing, right?
Right.
So, which is an interesting thing that the grandmother would say, be grateful. So be grateful for what you have. And he said, oh my gosh, it's not about not being satisfied. He's like, she got it wrong. You got to be wanting more, but that doesn't mean you can't be happy. You can be happy for what you have, but you can always go into this law of increase knowing that there's more expansion, there's more pleasure to be had, there's more laughter to be had, there's more engagement to be had. And it's about leaving each moment and leaving interaction with a little bit more. So like Don, when you and I interact, it's about leaving you with a little bit more attention, value, love, if you have that kind of relationship with the person, right?
Right.
So yeah, it's about that. It's about knowing that there is more to be had and also being happy and content with what you have. So
Right. Yeah, I really like that because there's a big distinction between happiness and satisfaction, right? Or happiness and contentment. So you can, right. And I think Bob is so great at saying, well, while I'm happy with how the company is going, I want more. I want more people to have the experience of the programs that he leads. And I want more people to have the experience of loving their lives. So he's always thinking, so he's never satisfied. He wants to increase the number of people that he interacts with. And what I find is all these laws kind of tie together, right? That there's more, there is more. I mean, right now, the billionaires have their billions, the millionaires have their millions, the middle class has their thousands, right? But that money can move from place to place. So it's not like, and we know that governments are good at making more money, printing more money.
Not
necessarily advocating that we do that. And I'm not advocating like more debt, right?
Yeah.
But the idea being that when you have a good idea, a good product, a good concept, there is more that's available when people recognize the value. Billionaires, they want They don't care about getting rid of $100,000, which could easily come to you to do your business, right? The law of increase, right? They want to increase happiness and satisfaction in the world, or support small businesses, or whatever it might be. But there's more to be had. And we often act like there isn't more. It is like, be happy with what you have. And let's keep it there. But, when you think about laws of thermodynamics, right? Everything's either expanding or contracting, which is another word for dying, right? So things are either expanding or they're dying. But he talks about putting your attention on it.
Yeah.
Right. The idea of, people who love gardening, we say they have a green thumb, but it's because they love what they do. When people love what they do, there just seems to be a whole lot of it around them. Right. Yeah. So he was talking a little bit about praising things and gratitude, when you praise your kid, or when you get, I don't know how about you, Liz, but if somebody praises me and tells me I did a good job, I feel bigger, right? I feel more expansive. When people cut me down and tell me I've been doing a bad job on something and I really gave it my all, I might still start to feel a little small, right? Especially if I knew I gave it my all, right? Mm-hmm. So there's something about putting your attention on something to have it increase. So I know you do work with gratitude, and so you want to say a little bit about, how you coach people, especially with gratitude with the job they're in, if they're thinking about leaving.
Yeah. So, if you're, and this is a great point for the Great Resignation, if you're in a current job and you're looking, to make some big shifts or changes, whether it's pivoting your career to create something else, whether it's jumping to launch a business, or taking more of a lifestyle approach and saying, oh, these things are more important. I got to find a way to make money and do this more often, right? Mm-hmm. So we always discuss it's important to create versus to run away. And that way you can step forward towards it. But the thing is a lot of times people are so busy running away from something. And if you can take that, one of my favorite exercises to do when people are talking about the career or talking about the job and not liking it is to, take a look at all the jobs you've ever had and go, what did you love about each one of those jobs? Mm. And then how much money did you make at each one of those jobs? And then to kind of stand above it and say, okay, if I was to take a look at expansion and say the law of increase, and I was to create something from this, what do I want more of out of all these different jobs I've ever had? Right. And how do I create that? And then also have appreciation that now I have the knowledge that I love this, because there's a reason you loved those different aspects of your job. Mm-hmm. And wouldn't you want to continue that going forward?
Oh, absolutely.
So appreciation is so important to make sure that you continue the things that you love.
Yeah. And I think that also plays into, if you're getting ready for a job interview, right? Mm-hmm. It will help remind you of not only what you loved, but how you contributed. Right? If you really love working with a certain team and the kinds of results that you were producing and the way the team interacted, you'll be able to take that into the next conversation with the next company. And rather than saying, oh, I hated my boss, so it was time to leave. People know when you're leaving because of one of those kinds of issues. So you want to be able to say, here's all the things I loved about it. And I would have loved the opportunity to expand this part of it, but they weren't quite ready at the moment, right? So you're praising them, they'll praise you back, right, when you need a reference, but it's about focusing on the good. Yeah. Because sometimes it's easy to focus on the bad. We talked yesterday about or maybe a couple of days ago, we talked about having a pebble stuck in your shoe and you're walking on the beach. And you've got all of the waves coming in and there's dolphins that are out there and the sand is beautiful and gorgeous shells and it's a bright sunny day and it's not too hot and you just are you could be basking in the sun, but instead you're focused on the stone in your shoe and you miss everything that's around you, right? You miss it all. You miss it all because of whatever you're focusing on. And the more you focus on it, the more it hurts.
Right.
Right. And becomes this vicious cycle. And you could have been focusing on everything around you instead. And so we really encourage people to focus on the good, because you can focus on anything. You focus on the good or the bad, but you will get more. We talk about you'll get more of the same.
Yeah.
And if you want, if you are wanting for something, like in a bad way, like I need more money versus I want money. I want more money so that I can, finish off this project. But if you're saying, I want more money because I'm broke and I'm upset or blah, blah, blah,
you're going to get more of that
brokenness, right?
Right. So, if you find yourself in that situation, here's one of the ways that you can maneuver out of it, right? So if you find yourself in a downward spiral because you're focusing on the pebble in the shoe, first and foremost, you can sit down, take off your shoe and remove the pebble, right? If it's that easy. But sometimes it's not that easy. So you could take what's not working and going, okay, this is an opportunity for clarity for me. This is what I don't want. What do I want? Right? So whenever there's that kind of spiral, it's like, oh, this is an opportunity for clarity. So what is it I do want? And then like, how could I get that? And building like a little roadmap to get there or whatever. But if you really can't get there, then go to something that does already bring you joy and do more of that right now until you get the opportunity to have clarity on that thing.
Right.
Because when you focus on the pebble in the shoe, you cannot recognize, as you said, the beautiful beach, the waves, and the sunshine.
Right. And you don't want to say, don't want to say, I don't want a pebble. What I want is to have this pebble gone. Or you don't say what I want is for my foot to feel good. No, you start to talk about, I want to be able to have the full experience of the ocean. How do I have the full experience of the ocean? Right.
Right.
Maybe sometimes you just have to run into the water and the pebble will loose itself. Now, it's going to be different than probably what you had planned to do, but you never know when you need to kind of take a dip in the big water and see what happens when you come out.
Exactly. And there are people that just, they cannot see that they're even at the beach, right? Because the pebble's so big. Go take a nap. Just go take a nap. Seriously. Or go do something that brings you so much joy that it will make you forget that you have a pebble that is so big in your shoe.
Yeah.
And then you can come back and address it and then go, I want to experience, as you said, the beach and all this other stuff. Yeah.
I think it always comes down to a choice, Liz, because sometimes, especially if you're thinking about leaving your work, you may not, that next perfect job, there's no perfect job. First of all, there's no perfect job. There's no perfect company to start. There's no perfect anything. But you may have to hang out there for a little while, and you can choose to be miserable, or you can choose to have it be okay. I've been watching this, I don't know if you watch Reels, Instagram, and there's a young man who's got cerebral palsy. And everybody said, oh, people with cerebral palsy, you're not going to live that long, and you got all this and you got that, and look at you kind of, they have a different way of walking because they don't have the same kind of smooth motor skills that the rest of us might have. And he has said, screw that, I'm taking this on. And he's just adorable. And he's showing like all the exercises that he's doing to build his strength, and he's modeling these clothes, and he's showing what he can do. And he says, don't you think there's a woman out there who wants a guy like me with cerebral palsy? Look, I can even carry a coffee cup across the room without spilling it now. And you think, and then there's people who have all kinds of money, all kinds of time, all kinds of connections, and they whine and complain.
Right.
And you always have a choice. I mean, you just
always.
And we hope you choose the law of increase of the things that you really want. Now, right?
And I want to have beautiful collaborative relationships with my coworkers and a sense of appreciation So I appreciate you, Dawn Parks.
Oh, and I appreciate you, Liz. Well, I think that kind of wraps us up. Want to remind everybody, we still have these really great courses that are going on, our Money Master Plan Mastermind, where you can come in, the course is online, the videos and a workbook that's online. You come into a community once a week, share it's a really safe space to come in and share what you're learning. You can ask questions about where you're headed with your business. You know, if all of a sudden 6 people in your family have COVID, you can share with us and we can help you get through it because you want to focus on something other than the bad stuff. But that course is, that's a 4-month program where you really go from idea through to creating and getting, you'll be a third of the way through your 1-year your plan for the year by the time you're finished. You're going to get great action out of that. So that's at shimula.com. And it's called the Money Master Plan Mastermind. We'd love to have you in it. And if you're a veteran, we still are offering the online version of it free. So contact us and we're happy to get you signed up for that.
Yes, absolutely. So, and you know what? We love hearing stories and cheering on what you're creating. So reach out to us. We love also talking about money personalities because a lot of times they support you, or sometimes they get in your way in the things that you're trying to create, whether you're leaping jobs or other things. So you can go take those quizzes on our website and we'll reach out to you afterwards with a video and about your information so you can learn a little bit more.
That's great. Yeah, that's a good reminder for everybody. So, so Liz, enjoy the snow. You could complain. You could complain and bitch about how cold it is, but you won't because you're going to focus on how gorgeous it is. And so will I. And I hope you have an amazing weekend.
I do have to tell you, my dog, my puppy, it's like it's her first real snow.
Oh my.
She does is put her nose into the snow and push it around and then comes up and goes, oh, that was so much fun. Then she licks the snow off and eats it and then does it again. It is so fun to watch.
You know, when people see new stuff like for the first time and have that experience of joy, it's so great, isn't it?
It is. It's fantastic. Have a great day, everybody.
Yep. Bye, everybody.